He is a top-tier cop who showcased jaw-dropping talent during his days at the police academy. His grades in both practical field ops and theoretical classes are straight A's, to the point where he could fill in all C's on an exam and still score rank number 1. Upon graduation, he gets fast-tracked straight into the London Metropolitan Police Department, mastering any task or skill in the blink of an eye. From helping senior citizens track down lost cats and dogs, to going toe-to-toe with armed kidnappers and rescuing hostages, he crushes every single challenge effortlessly with total perfection. At such a young age, within just his first year on the force, he bags a massive mountain of honorary trophies, with his case clearance rate completely dominating the national leaderboard. Just as this rising star of the police force, named Angel, sees his career booming and skyrocketing to the heavens, he is suddenly summoned into the chief's office. Thinking a promotion opportunity has finally locked in for him, he walks in looking cool as a breeze. Instead, the chief drops a completely mind-boggling transfer order right in front of him, instantly banishing him to the most remote, God-forsaken little village in the UK. Angel freezes on the spot, utterly dumbfounded, wondering if his ears are playing tricks on him. But the chief's attitude is hard as steel, leaving Angel absolutely zero room for pushback or refusal. Refusing to back down, a defiant Angel tries to look for a higher-ranking inspector to lodge a formal complaint, but to his surprise, the inspector materializes right in front of him the very next second. And the inspector's stance is identical to the chief's, demanding that Angel pack up and go to that remote countryside. Seeing that the inspector is a dead end, Angel refuses to believe in bad luck and demands to see the chief inspector. But little does he know, the chief inspector has been waiting for him all along and steps right out from the adjacent room. The chief inspector finally lays all his cards on the table and speaks the truth to the young man, admitting that if they let Angel stay at headquarters any longer, his insane overachieving will drive everyone else out of a job with nothing left to do. Angel feels they are deliberately freezing him out, believing that his other lovely colleagues definitely want him to stay. This slightly naive cop steps outside, hoping to rally a few of his supporters, only to find that all his fellow officers have already set up a massive farewell party, just waiting for him to make a lightning-fast exit. Tragedy strikes not just in Angel's career, but also in his love life. He originally wants to find his beautiful forensic scientist girlfriend to vent his pain.
Janine, I've been transferred. I'm moving away for a while.
Instead, his girlfriend throws down her own ultimatum, informing him that he is already history and she is already hooked up with the male colleague standing right behind her. Just like that, the incredibly outstanding Angel packs his bags all by himself and boards a train bound for the countryside. Feeling utterly dejected, he mimics the vibe of a hitman by cradling a potted plant, arriving at this tiny village where even the phone signal is a flat zero. And they do not even bother arranging proper housing, dumping him straight into a trashy old tavern to get rid of him for good. With absolutely nothing to do in his room, he decides to head out for a walk to check out his new environment. The village is dead quiet at night, with only a few young punks loitering by the roadside. Angel rolls into a local pub to kill some time, and keeping himself to the highest standards, he orders a glass of juice. However, he quickly spots a massive red flag in this establishment, noticing that the people sitting around chugging booze are actually teenagers, while the pub wall prominently flashes a sign reading, "No drinking under 18. Unable to tolerate a single unlawful act, Angel whips out his police badge and charges straight over. The old couple running the pub try to cook up excuses to talk him down, but they get shut down instantly by Angel's strict enforcement of the law. Consequently, the pub, which was bustling with patrons just moments ago, empties out in a flash, leaving not a soul behind. Angel waits all the way until closing time, only leaving with a drunkard once he feels completely reassured. He catches sight of some bizarre markings on the central fountain, and just as he leans in to get a closer look, it turns out the drunkard who just left the pub is driving under the influence, almost running him over and killing him on the spot. Now the drunkard falls right into his hands. He hauls the man straight toward the police station, picking up a whole bunch of wasted teenagers throwing wild tantrums along the way. The officer on duty recognizes Angel as the new colleague who is supposed to report for duty, and since he seems tight with the drunk man, he tells the guy to just crawl into holding cell number 4 to sleep it off. After spending his very first day staying busy all night long, Angel finally gets some sleep. Even though this place is a far cry from his dream career destination, now that he is already here, his rigorous self-discipline makes him refuse to slack off, prompting him to report for duty at the police station right on time at the crack of dawn. He heads straight over to the holding cells first, wanting to check on that DUI driver from last night. But when he swings the iron door open, the room is completely empty, and the man suddenly appears right behind him. Angel spins around, only to realize that this man is actually wearing a police uniform. Right at that moment, an old man also materializes at the doorstep, who turns out to be Frank, the chief of the rural police department. And what Angel never expects is that this goofy-looking man actually turns out to be Chief Frank's son, Danny. Under Frank's guidance, Angel finally gets a full tour of this rural police department. This place is basically a paradise for lazy cops, where the gear locker looks like a long-abandoned warehouse complete with a live hedgehog, and the evidence room is totally empty, suggesting that no real crimes ever happen here. Meanwhile, Angel's new colleagues are a bunch of middle-aged slackers who spend their shifts casually eating cake and sipping tea. The only useful spot in the entire precinct is the surveillance room on the top floor, where they can track the live situation of the whole village through security cameras. Frank takes Angel on a quick lap, and seeing that the clock is ticking past 11, decides it is prime time for lunch. This police station looks like the ultimate spot to kill time and collect a free paycheck. The elite cop Angel officially kicks off his daily routine as a country police officer, with Danny locked in as his partner. Every day, Angel is either accompanying the village elders through incredibly boring town hall meetings or heading over to teach school kids about safety awareness. They finally catch a break with an emergency call, only to find out they are tasked with catching a runaway goose that escaped its pen. And the kicker is that he and Danny chase it for ages without even catching a feather. Frustrated, Angel desperately wants to do some real police work, like busting actual criminals. But since this tiny village has 0 cases, he can only amuse himself by imagining that all the weird-looking residents are dangerous felons. However, while he and Danny are mindlessly browsing the supermarket to buy lunch, he actually crosses paths with a real thief, catching a shady-looking youth shoplifting snacks. He materialized right in front of the kid out of nowhere, scaring the living daylights out of him so bad that his eyes go wide and he bolts. This completely ignites Angel's suppressed urge to bust a major case, and an ecstatic Angel chases the youth down the street with everything he has. Danny finally manages to catch up, and seeing that the kid has already gained ground, Angel decides to take a shortcut. He puts on a massive display of his athletic skills right in front of Danny. This leaves Danny green with envy, making him feel like he could pull off those moves too. The kid stops to catch his breath, completely exhausted, but he never expects Angel to drop right in front of him in a flash. The thief has never seen a cop get this incredibly hyped up over a petty theft, leaving him no choice but to turn around and keep running. Angel speeds past a pack of local street loiterers, snatches a can of spray paint in one smooth motion, hurls it with maximum force, and scores a precision headshot right on the kid's skull. He hauls the punk back to the station, but to his surprise, the supermarket owner, Skinner, has no intention of pressing charges, arguing that the kid only stole a bag of biscuits, and since they are all neighbors, Skinner feels it is no big deal. Just like that, the passion Angel had finally worked up gets snuffed right back down. Angel spends another day in utter boredom, totally unaware that on this very night, the major case he has been yearning for is actually going to land. Martin catches a knock at the door, realizing his lover has come to pay him a visit. As they clink their glasses, Martin catches another knock at the door, prompting him to open it impatiently after having his mood completely ruined. The next day, before the sun is even fully up, Angel, who is still fast asleep, receives a phone call. The moment he hears the contents of the phone call, he snaps wide awake instantly, because 2 decapitated heads from a car crash have been discovered on a narrow country road. His fellow police officers judge that this must be a pair of lovers, speeding in the dead of night, who consequently lost control, accelerated into a road sign, and had their heads sliced right off. But Angel remains deep in thought without saying a word, feeling that things are not that simple. With his rich experience in solving cases back in London, he feels they need to immediately set up a police line to cordon off the scene first, avoiding letting passers-by see such a horrifying sight which would trigger panic. Sure enough, this move proves to be quite effective, as people passing by all assume it is just a routine car crash. Yet when Skinner drives past the scene, he speaks the names of this pair of victims straight to Angel.
You know how it is? News travels fast.
Hello?
Seeing Skinner arrogantly drive away into the distance, Angel feels this man has some issues. Returning to the station, he feels this case is not some car crash at all, but rather a deliberate unaliving by someone, because he has carefully investigated the scene, noting a vehicle out of control, but with 0 brake marks on the road. However, his colleagues mock and jeer at him, feeling that this demoted elite from headquarters is purely looking for trouble where there is none. Just as several of them are arguing, Frank walks in to break the deadlock, assigning Angel a new task to handle a minor dispute at a farm. Angel has no choice but to temporarily leave the police station with Danny, rushing all the way out to the suburban farm. At this moment, a farmer named Arthur is standing in front of his yard holding a shotgun. Arthur has broken someone else's fence, and while Angel originally wants to give him a proper lecture, he never expects to catch a strange hint from Arthur's words, implying that Arthur seems to possess more than just a single shotgun. Under Arthur's guidance, he and Danny are led into a barn. The moment the lights switch on, both of them are scared completely witless, discovering that this place turns out to be a mini arsenal, while all these weapons and ammunition were just randomly found by Arthur while scavenging for trash all over the place. And what is even more terrifying is that there is also a massive sea mine right here. Angel feels this object is extremely hazardous, but Arthur refuses to believe his words, even giving the sea mine a hard whack with the butt of his gun. Consequently, an echo comes out from inside the sea mine, scaring them into fleeing from the barn, while Angel and Danny jump behind a mud wall to take cover. But after waiting for ages, no explosion occurs in the barn, making them feel a bit awkward. Angel confiscates all of these dangerous items, and he and Danny haul the weapons and ammunition right into the evidence room, including that rusted sea mine. Due to today's massive haul, Angel is in an exceptionally great mood. Under Danny's egging on, the always strictly self-disciplined cop finally lets loose for once today, drinking to his heart's content with Danny at the pub. Right at this time, he crosses paths with Skinner again, who is drinking with Merchant, a land developer in the village. And Merchant is clearly way past his limit, urinating right inside the pub. Frank genuinely cannot stand the sight of it anymore, so he tells Angel and Danny to escort Merchant back home. They leave the heavily intoxicated Merchant at the entrance of his mansion and take off. But as they leave, they fail to notice a figure clad in black standing in the corner. As a result, that very night, Merchant gets unalived in his own home, and his grand mansion is blown to pieces by the black-clad figure using a gas leak. This is already the second fatal incident to occur within just a few short days since Angel arrived in this tiny village. And at the scene, he spots Skinner driving past once again, watching him look back with a deeply meaningful smile, which makes Angel feel this matter is absolutely not as simple as a mere gas leak. But he checks the surveillance footage at Merchant's doorstep and finds 0 suspicious characters, leaving his colleagues to mock and jeer at him yet again. Seeing Angel's emotions getting a bit out of control, the slick Frank steps up at the perfect time once more, inviting him to attend the church festival over the weekend, which is the most bustling gathering in the entire village. Sitting on a bench with absolutely nothing to do, Angel spots Skinner again, who seems to be staring constantly at Tim, a reporter doing interviews all over the place. And just as Angel and Danny are making small talk, Tim suddenly approaches Angel in a highly mysterious manner, telling him that he has uncovered some leads regarding Merchant's demise and asking to meet him at 3 o'clock in the cemetery behind the church for a detailed chat, rushing off immediately after saying his piece. Angel wants to follow him right away, but gets called out by the host on the event stage, asking this newcomer cop to draw the raffle tickets for everyone. With no other choice, Angel has to bite the bullet and get up on stage, but he notices that the time is fast approaching 3 o'clock, while Tim is also waiting anxiously for Angel at the church. Seeing the time ticking closer and closer, the host is still unhurriedly shaking the raffle box. Angel genuinely cannot wait any longer, and the exact moment the 3 o'clock bell chimes, he quickly leaps off the stage and sprints like mad toward the direction of the church. Consequently, the moment he arrives, he witnesses a tragedy strike with his own eyes, as Tim has his body impaled right in front of him by a falling church spire. Within just these few days, 4 people have already perished. Angel feels all these cases must be interconnected, but everyone still feels he is overthinking things, believing these people just happened to have terrible luck and met accidental demises. To prove his theory right, Angel begins hunting for leads all by himself. He scours through every single newspaper Tim contributed to, hoping to find some clues on them. he suddenly recalls that Tim had interviewed Leslie, the flower shop owner, on the festival day. So he quickly drives over to the flower shop to ask her about the situation. Through questioning, he learns that Leslie originally intended to sell her land to Merchant, but he suddenly perished. The moment Angel hears there is a lead, he hurries back to his squad car to grab his notebook. But little does he know, the very instant he leaves, that mysterious cloaked figure materializes and takes Leslie's life using a pair of garden shears. And this exact scene happens to be spotted by Angel, who lets out a loud shout, smashes through the glass window, and gives chase. By all accounts, he is young, strong, and a police elite, meaning catching a perpetrator should be a walk in the park. But to his astonishment, that mysterious cloaked figure runs incredibly fast, opening up a massive distance between them every single time they hit a turn. In the end, Angel can only pant heavily for breath, watching that mysterious figure escape right from under his nose. Yet this time, even though he saw someone get unalived with his own eyes, his colleagues still refuse to believe him, everyone feeling that he has gone completely mad wanting to crack a major case. Angel is practically on the verge of a total meltdown, and Frank also starts to think that Angel might have completely misjudged the entire case. But Angel believes with absolute certainty that this is a major serial case, and he even knows exactly who the perpetrator is. He brings everyone to the supermarket, openly calling out Skinner as the perpetrator who took everyone's lives because he discovered the opponent got cut by a glass window while chasing the culprit. But when he pulls up Skinner's pant leg, he actually finds this leg is completely unscathed, without a single scratch, while Skinner also possesses surveillance footage to prove his alibi. At this point, no matter what Angel says, absolutely no one believes him anymore, making it seem like he really is just making things up in his own head. He starts his boring daily street patrols all over again, completely unable to grasp how his judgment could actually be wrong. Dejected as he is, he tags along with Danny to the convenience store to buy some ice cream to eat, just like a regular routine. The conversation between Danny and the shopkeeper hits Angel like a sudden bolt of lightning, letting him figure out the true cause behind the entire matter, whereupon he hurries right back to the police station. He bursts into Frank's office, telling Frank about his brand new discovery that the perpetrator in these cases is actually not just a single person, but rather it should be a multi-person team working in close cooperation to pull off the deeds. Watching him still refuse to let go of this entire matter, Frank calls a hard stop to him. Frank feels Angel's mental stress is way too high and that he is being overly sensitive. So he advises Angel that it would be best to go back and get some proper rest, suggesting that relaxing his tightly wound nerves might work out much better. Hearing Frank put it this way, Angel, who has always felt highly confident in himself, also becomes a bit hesitant and dazed, feeling just like a bucket of cold water has been poured over him to extinguish his fire. He walks back to the tavern in utter frustration, just wanting to open his room door to get a good night's sleep. Yet he never expects that the mysterious cloaked figure would actually manifest right inside his room this time, aiming to put an end to his life. Following a life and death struggle, Angel rips off the opponent's hood, only to discover that it turns out to be Michael, the supermarket employee. Seeing that he is no match for the opponent in terms of sheer strength, Angel hurls the plush toy from his bed right at him in a moment of sheer desperation. Yet who would have thought that this seemingly ferocious, thuggish powerhouse would actually get instantly captivated upon making contact with the plush toy, turning into a well-behaved, adorable big baby on the spot. The moment Angel knocks Michael down, he hears the walkie-talkie on the opponent's body start to ring. In order to avoid alerting the enemy, he deliberately mimics Michael's way of speaking to talk with the person on the other end of the line, who tells him to meet up straight at the abandoned castle once he finishes off Angel. Angel just wants to head out the door when Danny suddenly materializes right before his eyes, so he quickly tells Danny to give Frank a phone call while he heads off toward the castle entirely on his own. Upon arriving at the center of the castle, he spots several cloaked figures sitting right there, recognizing them as none other than the elderly folks who seemed so warm and friendly in the village during the daytime. Just as this pack of people is celebrating that the troublesome new cop is finally out of the picture, they never expect this young man to let out a loud shout and materialize right before their eyes. This group of elders unexpectedly turns out to be a bona fide cult, who, under the high-sounding pretext of seeking the welfare of the village, ruthlessly take the lives of others at will. Martin and Eve are unalived because of their moral depravity, Merchant got unalived because his grand mansion clashed completely with the architectural style of the village. Tim got unalived because the articles he reported constantly contained typos and spelling errors. And Leslie got unalived because she intended to sell off her shop and relocate to the neighboring village. This pack of people actually takes lives for nothing more than these utterly ridiculous and absurd reasons. And what catches Angel even more off guard is that the true mastermind of this pack of people turns out to be none other than the police chief, Frank. It turns out this old cop, who looks perfectly gentle and amiable, has long been working hand in glove with these people in the village, their terrifying and bloody team having held a tight, iron grip on this village for an incredibly long time. And the very next target they are going to eliminate is this young cop right in front of them, who now knows the entire truth. Angel never expects his partner Danny to show up here as well. Danny steps forward, driving a blade straight into his chest with a single thrust. Angel stares with absolute disbelief at this partner and best friend whom he thought he could trust, before instantly collapsing to the ground. However, Danny still harbors goodwill toward him, merely putting on a show of stabbing Angel with the sole purpose of getting him to escape this village immediately. Danny hopes his good partner will leave far away for good because of this, heading right back to London and never returning ever again. But as a cop with a fiercely powerful sense of justice, it is absolutely impossible for Angel to just wash his hands of the matter, leaving a pack of unaliving demons to run amok and commit evil deeds in this remote place. Yet there is no way Danny would turn against his very own father, leaving the two good partners with no choice but to part ways right then and there. Angel drives the car Danny gifted to him, hitting the highway heading back toward London. While fueling up at the gas station, a totally demoralized him suddenly catches sight of the action movie DVDs sitting on the shelves. He thinks back to how he used to sit in Danny's house watching these blood-pumping action flicks together with him, reminding him of those heroes who crush criminals to stand up for justice. His heart, which had already gone completely cold, has a roaring fire ignited inside it once again. He rolls right back into the village. This time, Angel is going to hit these elders with a heavy fist. He heads straight back to the police station first, running into the evidence room to gear up with all the weapons and ammunition he had previously confiscated. He can finally unleash a massive showdown. Armed to the teeth, Angel rides a white horse, swaggering boldly down the village road. A pack of youths looks at this bizarre individual in utter amazement. Angel's mind takes a quick turn as an idea suddenly pops into his head, whereupon he hands the spray paint he bought over to this pack of youths, asking them to pitch in and help. Consequently, every single camera in the village gets blasted with spray paint, causing the surveillance center to lose its functionality in a flash. The wicked elders all widen their eyes in shock, never expecting that the young man has actually come back again, standing arrogantly right in the center of the street, holding heavy weaponry. He is about to start delivering justice on behalf of heaven. The old men take the lead to strike, wielding shotguns and firing wildly at the position where Angel is taking cover, while an old lady is also shooting at him from the second floor. Angel quickly calls over the youths to head up and deal with the old lady. A woman riding a bicycle goes absolutely berserk, shooting at Angel with both hands. Seeing that the woman's firepower is incredibly fierce, Danny, who is sitting inside the patrol car, suddenly flings the car door open and knocks the woman flying. This pair of good partners fight side by side, engaging in a fierce shootout with the wicked elders right in the center of the street. Danny is ecstatic, having finally got to be a hero of the police force for once. The sharpshooting Angel has just gunned down a few people when an old lady suddenly points a submachine gun right at them, firing like mad. An old man comes hacking over with a long blade, but there is no way he is a match for Angel. Yet another elder points a gun right at them, demanding that Danny drop the weapon in his hand, which Danny obediently does. But as luck would have it, a stray bullet blows right off the old man's toe. Immediately following that, Angel and Danny charge straight into the pub, where Danny finally gets to mimic the heroes in the movies, pulling off a slick move by flying through the air while blasting his gun. Just as they finish taking care of the pub owner, Frank arrives with a massive squad of fellow police officers, still trying to instigate the crowd into capturing Angel at this very moment. But now that the entire village has descended into absolute pandemonium, coupled with Angel and Danny completely blowing the lid off all the town's dark secrets, their colleagues finally snap out of it and rally behind Angel, one after another. Seeing that the situation has turned against him, an infuriated Frank smashes the chandelier, turns around, and bolts. But Angel has no time to give chase to him because they still have one most crucial stronghold left to take down. The police officers arrive at the supermarket. Angel faces off against Michael once again, and following a bout of wrestling, although his physical strength is no match for the opponent, a highly resilient Angel manages to lock Michael's neck in a chokehold, refusing to let go under any circumstances, which results in Michael losing his balance from a slip of his foot and plunging to his demise right inside a freezer. Meanwhile, the other colleagues do not let him down either, engaging in a fierce, deadlocked shootout with the butcher in the shelf section and meat department. Consequently, the arriving Angel catches sight of the shopping carts behind him and hits upon a solution in an instant. Several of them push a long line of shopping carts and charge over, breaching the meat department just like a battering ram. Angel and Danny kick the office door wide open, only to discover that Skinner has already jumped out of the window to flee, hopping right into a police car driven by Frank. The two of them quickly jump into a police car as well to give chase, both vehicles firing at each other while driving, speeding all the way into the open fields. Right at this moment, that runaway goose suddenly manifests right in the middle of the road, leaving the police car driven by Frank with no time to react, crashing headfirst into a billboard and flying right into a miniature park. While Angel and Danny, who are following behind, are far superior to them, not only managing to slam on the brakes in time, but also capturing the goose back along the way. They drive their vehicle into the park as well. Skinner holds a young boy hostage with a gun. Angel and Skinner lock into a brawl right inside the miniature architectural complex. In the end, Angel delivers a powerful punch to defeat Skinner, finally bringing the battle to a close. Just as he, thoroughly exhausted, is about to praise the little boy, Skinner unexpectedly stands right back up and charges forward with a knife. As a result, his foot steps right onto a toy car and slips, sending his entire body flying out and getting impaled right on a church spire. On the other side, Frank breaks free from his son's restraint and gets into a vehicle, driving away to escape. Just when he thinks he can make a clean getaway, a massive goose suddenly pops up in the back seat and gives him a vicious peck. The hero cops finally achieve a massive success. Everyone is buried in writing reports at the police station, and after going through this battle, Angel can finally fit right in with them, cracking jokes back and forth. But right at this moment, the last remaining member of the NWA, Weaver, bursts into the police station, wielding a short-barreled shotgun. Consumed by rage, he fires at Angel, but Danny leaps out, throwing himself in front of his best friend. Angel immediately kicks over a trash can to hurl it at Weaver and kicks him straight into the evidence room. As a result, Weaver crashes into that large sea mine, accidentally triggering the detonation switch, and the entire police station is blown into ruins. Several months later, Angel has already bought a house and settled down in this small village. He and Danny are now brothers in arms who go through thick and thin together, seamlessly cooperating as they continue to fight passionately for this small village, safeguarding the peace of this land. On the surface, Hot Fuzz is a hilarious buddy cop movie, but at its core, it is an extremely satirical and action-packed dark parable. Going from being lonely and stubborn at the very beginning, believed by no one, mocked and questioned, to finally seeing the truth clearly and refusing to compromise, Angel resolutely stands up against the entire corrupted town. He shatters the lie woven collectively by everyone with his own solitary strength. The most ironic part of the entire movie lies in the fact that true evil is never atrocious criminals, but rather a group of seemingly kind, amiable, ordinary people living in peace and contentment. Mediocrity itself is not a mistake. But when mediocre people band together to commit evil, masking their wickedness with hypocrisy, that is the most terrifying darkness. At the same time, the film also teaches us a lesson. When a person is too dazzling and excellent, they might not necessarily be treated with kindness. Even if the whole world does not believe you, standing up for justice and holding on to the truth is never wrong. All right, that is all for today, and we will see you in the next episode.